Hello everybody. In this episode, you will be learning how to create a simple puppet animation using Adobe Illustrator characters and importing them directly to Adobe Flash. So let's begin. Let's start by starting a new project. And even though we're not using ActionScript, go ahead and click on 3.0 and change your screen size to 720 by 486 standard TV resolution for this. You could also customize your size here for the web. So if you're creating a web banner, you can go ahead and customize that size to fit your web depending on your web screen, whether it's responsive and the size dimensions that you're going for. Leave this at pixels and the frame rate should be 24 frames per second. Okay, and for the background color, let's go ahead and just put blue. We're not going to see the background just in case it shows through. Press OK. Alright, so we are ready to begin. The first thing that we want to do is import some of our images. So in your Puppet folder, you're going to pull up an image and import it onto the stage. So let's go to File, Import, Import to Stage. And let's go ahead and look for the Puppet lesson. And there's a nice image. We're going to go ahead and press Open on the Amazing Boat Sea Beach image, and you will notice that it is far bigger than our stage. Therefore, we will go ahead and scale this image. So right over here, we went over some tools in the previous lesson. We have the selection tool, we have sub-selection tool, and of course the free transform tool. Holding down the free transform tool, you can scale this down, or you can simply just go here to your properties menu, and under width and height, if you just type in 720 by 486, you will notice that everything snaps. And of course you can go ahead and put 0 for the XY position so that everything is centered. Once you have your image centered, it is time now to lock your image down, but let's first name it. To name your layer here in the timeline, you will notice it's just called Layer 1. You would double click, and let's name this BG for background. And as you can see here as a review, the I here stands for visibility, so we can turn it off and on. We can also lock this layer. So let's go ahead and lock it so that it doesn't move. And let's go ahead and create a new layer right on top of this layer. And this will be a layer for one of our animated characters. Let's call this Turtle. We are going to import our turtle. And for this layer, we're going to have a little bit of a different, slightly different technique. So let's go ahead by pressing Apple H. You can go ahead and hide your flash, and let's go ahead to the Puppet lesson, and let's pull up in our Puppet lesson. Let's pull up our Ocean and Animals Adobe Illustrator file. So just double click on this file and choose your favorite animal. I think we should begin with something a little bit challenging. Let's just select our turtle here. Oopsie. And this is why sometimes you need to lock your layers, because if you don't lock your layers, you will have this problem. So in Adobe Illustrator, you can go ahead and open up your layers, and you will notice the background is here. So I'm just going to make it invisible so it's out of the way, and I'm going to go ahead and grab this turtle. In order to grab the turtle, you'll notice that it's going to select the entire panel. Just double click so that you get the turtle. Once again, just click on the turtle, and you're going to press Command C to copy it. So once again, all I did was I selected the turtle, I press Command C. If you have a difficult time selecting just the turtle, make sure that you double click, and once you press Command C or Control C, you can go ahead, go back to your Adobe Flash, and inside the turtle layer, you can simply do Command V or paste. And now you'll notice the Adobe Flash will give you a few options. So it's going to ask you, should you paste it as a bitmap? Or should you paste using AI file importer preferences? Apply recommended import settings to resolve incompatibilities, maintain layers. Now you definitely want to maintain the layers because we are going to be animating the turtle. And you want to make sure that you paste using AI file importer preferences. Go ahead and press OK. And there is our turtle. There is our turtle. I'm going to just scale him ever so slightly down here. And you'll notice that it was renamed, so we can go ahead and name a turtle again. Okay. And if you double click on the turtle, I want you to be aware of something. If you double click on the turtle, you will be able to access with your selection tool the different layers. So if you double click on this leg, you can access the leg here. If you double click, you can access the body of the turtle. To go back to your main scene, you have to go one step up to the scene group. So instead of being in the turtle group, you got to click on the scene. And once you click on the scene, you're back to the scene level. Okay. All right, so let's begin. I guess we can add one more animal before we start. Let's go ahead and return back to this. We could, let's see some other animals here. Let's go ahead and add our hermit. Once again, if this happens, double click and select. Once again, I double clicked and then I selected the hermit crab. I press Command C. I go back to my Adobe Flash and I make a new layer. On this layer, I'm going to lock the other layer temporarily. On this new layer, I'm going to press Command V. I'm going to press OK to paste using AI file importer preferences with maintain layers on. And there is my hermit crab. Okay, once again, I'm going to rename it to my heart's content. And the last thing that we're going to add is inside the puppet lesson, we also have the 17 AI file. Just double click on this file, press yes. And what we're going to have a little boat in the background. We're also going to have a little plane flying above. Okay, and a palm tree. So let's go ahead. Once again, I'm just going to get rid of this green layer in the background so it doesn't distract you. And let's go ahead and grab the palm trees. Press Command C. We are going to go back to Adobe Flash. We are going to make a new layer. Lock the previous layer so that you don't get confused. And on this new layer, we're going to press Command V. Same preferences. For pasting, we're going to press OK, and there's our palm tree. We can go ahead and use the transform tool to scale the palm tree. There we go, and now we have a little perspective. You can place it wherever you'd like. Remember, the only thing you'll be seeing is this scene here. So you can also stretch it. It's really up to you. But everything inside this stage, where it ends, the borders here, is what you'll be seeing in the final movie, nothing beyond that. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're framing your composition. You know what, maybe we'll just put it here. You could also flip this image, so if you're not satisfied with the direction, you can go ahead and just flip the image, just like this. Okay, it's covering our turtle. We can go ahead and once we have this, there we go. And we're going to rename this palm trees. Okay, lock the layer. And finally, I think we have 2 more things here. Let's go ahead and move on for the puppet lesson. Once again, let's bring up the boats. We'll import the boats. Press Command C. Open up your Adobe Flash file. Once again, to make a new layer, remember to make a new layer, just remember to click this icon below here, new layer, and Command V right into the stage. And there's our boat. Let's rename this by writing boat. Okay, and this is always getting in the way, puppet lesson. And finally, let's see, let's go ahead, we could give it a sunshine as well. Make a new layer. Lock the previous layer so you don't get confused. Command V. Okay, press OK. Now, if you're having a difficult time and you're not familiar with key commands on keyboards, you could also do edit, copy, and edit, paste in place here. So you could also use this. Okay, once we have this, simply move the sun where you would like it to be. You can scale it, once again, using the transform. And the whole idea is that we're going to make like an animated postcard out of this. Okay. Once again, let's go back to Adobe Illustrator here. And I think the final thing I would like to add, let's go ahead and, you know what, let's put this, maybe 2 more things. Command C, back to Adobe Flash. Let's go ahead and, after we name this sun, and after we lock it, let's make a new layer, and Command V, press OK, and there's our beach ball. Oh, there it is. We're going to place it right here, right next to the Hermit Crab. And I think one more thing, let's see. Let's go ahead and add one more thing to the scene. We're going to add the plane. Command C, grab the plane, go back to your scene. We named this ball. We're going to lock this. We're going to make a new layer. And Command V, press OK, and there's our plane. Our plane's going to be coming from this end. And we're going to name it plane. Okay, now that we have all the different layers, we can go ahead and unlock all the layers except the palm tree and the background. Okay, so only the palm trees and the background are going to stay put, and everything else is going to, we're going to animate it. Okay, so as we remember, 24 frames is 1 second of animation. In this animation, we're going to have a little fun. Each character is going to move. And so we've already keyed key 1 here, and on 5, we're going to create a little animation. So let's go ahead and bring this up just a little bit. It's also all about setting up your animation. You can always move the bottom portion of the timeline so that it's comfortable for you to see all the layers on the bottom. So now I'm going to hold down Shift, the Shift key on your keyboard, and scroll the way down, and I'm going to press F6 to create a keyframe, and I'm going to animate every 5 frames. Okay, so on 5, my character here is going to kick this ball as the turtle is walking towards it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. The first thing I want to do is move my turtle forward at this point. And I also want to double click the leg, the foot of the turtle, just this one foot, and make it appear like he's actually moving his foot up. Okay? You'll notice that between here and here, we have a slight little animation going. Okay? And same with our character here, the hermit crab. We're going to double click one of the legs with the hermit crab. And here is a little trick I'm going to show you. Right here is the puppet's pivot point. I call these little guys puppets because they're made out of different parts. So what we're going to do is move that pivot point to the pivot location where it's going to rotate. So let's go ahead and click on this white point in the center and drag it right here. This is our pivot point. As a matter of fact, what he's going to do is kick the ball in a little bit. So he's going to raise his little claw at 5, and at 10 he's going to stab at it and kick it over. Okay, so this is what we have so far with the animation. Okay, and at this point our boat is going to wobble a little bit. Okay, just ever so slightly. Once again, you can bring that pivot point that's in the center a little bit lower here so that the boat wobbles from the bottom. And we're going to move that boat over. Maybe it's a little too drastic, just ever so slightly. You don't have to move it either if you don't feel like it, but you can definitely have it wobble. There's also a little skewing effect. If you hold your mouse over the bottom and you left click, you can also skew and create this really wonderful effect. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and skew that boat a little bit, give it a little cartoony feel, and this is what I have so far. Okay, and at this point my plane is going to move right about here, and so this is just 5 frames of animation. I can also do some fun things with this sun. I can double click each ray, and what I can do is stretch it out, or I can animate it. It's really up to you. Or you can just animate these outer rays and give it a really fun effect. Oops. Make sure that if you do it, you also apply it to the other part. So let's go back. So let's go back to this. Let's grab the entire ray here. Just double click. There's actually 2 in the set. And grab those 2, and then you can stretch it up. Same with this. Grab them, stretch them up. And this is the little fun effect we have so far. Okay, and then we're going to move on to 10. We're going to shift select all of the layers from the plane to the background. Just, once again, all you have to do is click on 10, hold down shift, and just, if it doesn't work the first time, make sure you hold down shift first and then click on the bottom layer. And at this point you should have like a blue line, and just press F6, and now you've extended that animation to 10 frames in the timeline. So this is your stage, these are your tools, and here's your timeline. Right now we're not even half a second long, it's 10 frames. So at 10, you have to click off of it, and now you can go ahead and move some of the other things here. Now I'm going to show you a little something. At 10, the plane might actually rotate a little bit, or maybe go up a little more, and go this way. Now you're going to notice it looks a little awkward because it's over the palm tree. And how do we fix that? Well, one way to fix that is to click on the plane layer and drag it behind the palm trees. And now it's going to look more natural, and it's giving you a little bit more of a depth to this cartoony little animation by putting the plane behind the foreground objects, in this case the palm trees. Okay, so this is what we have so far. And now let's focus on our little turtle. We are going to move our turtle forward, and then double click on that same foot. Once again, move our pivot point to the rotational. direction, which is closer to the body, move her leg down. Maybe since that one's moving down, this one is moving up. And once we're done, we want to get out of the group level and go back to the scene. So click on the scene. And we are back here. Now it's time to focus on the Hermit Crab. So we're going to select the Hermit Crab, double click again so that we get the claw. And you will notice that you have the scene level, the Hermit Crab group, and then of course the claw itself. So we're inside the claw layer. We are going to drag that pivot point once again to where we started. We want to rotate it from the very end of that limb here where it connects to the body. And then using our transform tool, what we're going to do is now he's going to hit that ball. But it's going to come down, and there's a little funny effect we have. We can actually make it extend so it looks like it's hitting the ball. And this is what we have so far. And at this point, the next animation will see that the ball rolls, okay? But we're not there yet, so we are going to take the boat, once again, push it forward, holding if you hold your mouse right underneath, you will notice that you have that little skew option. So now we can skew the boat a little bit more. And so the animation continues. And what we could also do is go to the sun, and since here we extended the sun rays, and here the sun rays were shorter, we can go ahead and just take this keyframe, right click on it, copy the frame. So if you right click on the sun frame, the first frame, and you copy the frame, you can go to the 10th frame of the sun and right click and paste the frame right over. So now you have a little animation cycle in this little banner postcard animation where the sun ray is short and then it extends out and it's a little longer. So it's a cute little animation. So this is what we have so far. And we're going to go ahead and continue this. On 15, once again, click, hold down Shift, make sure you extend it all the way down to the background, and press F6. Once you press F6, once again, let's go now to the ball animation. The ball layer on 15 is going to start rolling. So let's go ahead and roll it and push it forward. And this is something we have so far. Okay. And in order to give it a little bit more of a roll, what we can do is put an in-between keyframe. So between 10 and 15, we can create one more keyframe by just clicking right there and pressing F6 on the ball layer. Now what we can do is do a little rotation, and this will give the illusion that the ball is rolling. Okay, so what we did here was just on the ball layer, we created an in-between keyframe where all we did was change the actual rotation. And on 15, once again, we can roll it some more. And so this is the illusion that the ball is rolling. Okay. It depends what effect you want. If you want it to feel like it's rolling more, you can rotate it some more. Okay. And at this point, let's go ahead and see. The ball rolls over, our turtle comes forward on 15. And now what we can do, these are slight movements. As you can see, animation requires a whole lot of patience. And we're going to double click the other leg here. That's our puppet. There's our pivot point. And we're going to bring that little foot down. And this one, on the other hand, is going to go up. Okay? And once again, go back to the scene level. Now that you've animated the turtle on 15, we can go back to the hermit crab. And at this point, maybe he just moves back a little bit, or he rotates ever so slightly. Very slight animations bring the entire scene to life. So take your time and don't rush this. Animation is all about the details, including fun banners like this. Then we can double click his arm. The arm was just extended. Maybe it's going to come back and move down. And so this is what we have, with the pivot still being there, closest to the body here, rotating from that point. If we click back on the scene, so far, this is our animation. Now, we forgot a few things. We have to go to the plane and keep the plane moving forward. We don't want it to be stuck in the sky. So we're going to go ahead and move the plane over at this point. It's flying higher. And our boat, we can just click on that layer, it is going to move forward. Once again, hold your mouse over the bottom. You're going to see those two parallel lines. And now you can skew it in the opposite direction just by pushing on it. Click and pull. And once again, click off of it. What we can do with the sun here is we can go to the frame before, where the sun rays were longer. Here they're shorter. So we'll take the frame where the sun rays were longer. We're going to right click. We're going to copy the frames. And what we're going to do on 15 is we're going to right click on 15 and paste the frames. So once again, our little animation cycle continues. Okay. And at this point, let's go ahead and conclude the animation. On 25, I guess we can extend it down to 30. We're going to press F6. And here what we're going to do is we're going to take the plane. It's going to fly right here. It's going to get smaller. And what we're going to do is move the boat over, and we're going to skew it the opposite direction. We're going to move the turtle. We're going to click and make the turtle bigger, so it looks like the turtle came forward. And the ball is going to rotate some more and also get bigger. The hermit crab is going to move back a little bit. We can rotate the hermit crab. We can also rotate those arms a little bit more. Maybe he's greeting his turtle friend, so you can raise them up a little bit. And same with this, make sure you move that pivot point. He's going to raise his arms. Going back to the scene level, what we're going to do is we are going to copy where the sun here has the shorter rays. We're going to copy this and create an in-between frame by pasting those frames. So we have a little bit of an animation here. And then what we're going to do is at about 40, we're going to press F6 again. And the plane is going to disappear behind the sun. The boat is going to move forward and rotate the opposite way. So, just like that. And of course, our turtle is going to move forward. We're going to double click the little puppet arm here for the turtle and move it in the opposite direction, which is up. Double click his other arm and move it down. And make sure we go back to the scene level, and the ball is actually going to roll back to our hermit crab. So we can rotate and move forward. And our hermit crab is going to, we're going to rotate that claw, is going to grab the ball with his claw. Let's go ahead and rotate the other little claw down. Go back to our scene level. Click back. We just duplicated. Sometimes Flash has this thing about it that it does freeze. And if that happens to you, just make sure you click back. Let's go ahead and save the scene so it doesn't crash. That's another thing. We want to make sure we always save. So let's call this Summer Animation Banner. Or we could call it Summer Animated Postcard. And make sure that you save it inside your folder. Once everything is complete, what you're going to do is Control, Rewind, Control, and you're going to play your movie. Now you're going to notice that sometimes it does freeze. In case that happens, just go back in time and it should work. Another way to test your movie is to export your movie. And we will be going over this shortly. Okay, so as you can see, even though my computer is freezing up a little bit, the animation still works. You can test the animation on your browser. And I want you to have fun with this and make sure to animate all the layers and experiment with skewing, experiment with the puppet tool, experiment with playing with the different shapes and rotating the ball, and have lots of fun with it. Okay, once again, let me just quickly go over how you would test your movie. Make sure you save it, and in order to test your movie, make sure you rewind and play. But if that doesn't work, make sure you go to Test Movie, and you can test it either in Flash Professional or in Flash in the browser. Just like this. Now, the final step is to export your movie. So regardless if it freezes or not, you can still export this movie. Go to File, Export, Export Movie, and let's go ahead and make sure we have QuickTime as our option. Make sure we have the correct folder or destination. We're going to save, And then it's going to ask us the size dimension. Make sure you click on QuickTime Settings. And we don't have sound, so just go ahead and click on Video. Click on Settings and make sure that it is best quality compressor and that our compression type is H.264, which will look really great on YouTube. Make sure this is best, 24 frames per second. Press OK. Prepare for internet streaming is fine. And then we're going to press OK. Press OK. And then press Export. At this point, even if you have a glitch or your computer freezes, you can still usually export the movie and you will see a .mov file on your desktop. Now if you double click this .mov file and if you play it, you can also go here and loop the QuickTime Player. So QuickTime Player, just loop it and full screen, press play, and this is what we have. So I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and that you learned how to import Adobe Illustrator files directly into Adobe Flash, that you learned how to animate the different parts of an image or a symbol, different layers. I hope that you enjoyed animating and rotating as well as changing the pivot points. So I look forward to seeing your animation.